Business Brain, episode 681 for Casual FridAI, September 5th. Bring your manners to work day 2025. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take some ideas, some of yours, some of ours, crunch them together, use them to tune our collective and individual business brains so that we can each keep on living those charmed lives. Our sponsors for this episode include MasterClass.com/businessbrain, where you can get an additional 15% off any annual plan, and Bitdefender.com/brain, where you can save 30% on Bitdefender Ultimate Small Business Security. We will talk more about what each of those means in a little bit here. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And in Lafayette, California, I'm Shannon G. Happy Friday.
Happy FridAI, my friend. Yeah. I have a thing, you have a thing, and listener Andy has a thing. So we should get to the things. Which one do you want to do first?
Yeah, I want to talk about the CPU usage. That's pretty interesting. That like we had an issue in the previous show a couple days ago where I was delayed. I couldn't figure it out. My video was choppy. The sound wasn't right.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, it's not, what's going on? I looked over and I was using an AI app called Opus Clip.
Okay.
That helps take video clips of anything that you've created. Opus does. You could take this podcast or any YouTube video and it would chop it up.
I think it's what great. Sadie uses one of the tools she uses to chop up this show. Yeah.
Yeah. It's terrific. Yep. And they just came out with a new agent. And I was using their beta. I was on the waiting list and I was using that. And it just basically turned, my computer slowed to a crawl.
Yes, it did.
So I asked it, because I asked the agent, I said, how long is this going to take? And it didn't even answer me. So I was like, we got to kill that. And
what is this, an AI video agent that turns your ideas into, I see, in any form?
Anything. So you can take an article like you wrote or somebody else wrote, and you could say, okay, I was trying to get an article in New Scientist that I was learning about ways to kind of work with your brain during the day to keep focused. And I asked it to create a short clip and, that I could turn into a social media post. I just wanted to see if it could do it. I didn't get all the way through it before my podcast co-host made me quit because it was taking over my computer.
Okay. Okay. So it does the work locally. I see.
It must, right? Because
clearly.
Clearly, where it, and it did come up. It asked me some questions along the way. I gave it a prompt, and there's a good FAQ that shows you all the differences in the prompt, which actually was very helpful just in general.
Cool.
Yeah. But so I'll report back after I try. And I was doing it in Safari, and sometimes that might be an issue. Because a lot of these don't like Safari. A lot of these services, even like what we're recording on right now, StreamYard, they want us to use Chrome.
Yep.
And a lot of them are like that.
Well, the Chrome thing is because Safari doesn't fully support WebRTC for video and for video conferencing.
Well, maybe that's who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's not the topic I want to talk about this week.
Okay.
You might have read in the news, there's been some things that have come up where people have had some problems with AI.
Yeah.
And in most of the cases that I've been reading about, it seems like the more you give your AI your personal details, the more problematic it could be. And so I thought we would chat a little bit about the risk of telling AI your personal information.
All right. So are we talking about the risk of that information leaking to other humans and sources, or are we talking about the risk of AI? I don't want to say using that information against you, but using that information in a way that is uncomfortable or unhealthy to you.
Unhealthy, yeah.
Okay.
We've talked about this before where it's I don't know if it's the right word for it, but it's, most AI is very much, they're sycophants, right? They're going to tell you that everything you do is great.
Yes.
And whoa, that's a great idea. Let's expand on that, that kind of thing. And I think that if you are someone that maybe has, I don't know, it's not always mental health issues, but if maybe you're feeling isolated and you are leaning on some AI chat bot to help lift you up, I think it can be very positive. And I think the vast majority of interactions are very positive.
For sure.
But like most things in life, there's always going to be a small, even minuscule percentage. And now with the way the world works in the news, we hear about those instantly. And I just think it's tough. And I think especially for young people, if you're in your formative years under 18, a teenager, that I don't think talking to AI and having an AI girlfriend or an AI therapist, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, having an AI, significant other, an AI partner in that way, I can't envision where that would be a good thing right now or ever.
Yes.
However, the idea of using AI to help process one's thoughts, I don't think it's a binary thing whether it's good or bad.
No, it's not binary. It's definitely not binary.
This conversation is going to go a different direction, but I'm going to get on a soapbox a little bit. When I was a kid, high school age, there was a girl who was killed, murdered in our town, and it was awful. We knew the family. I went to school with her older siblings, and it was terrible. Everybody in town knew about it.
Oh wow!
And everybody in the town next to ours knew about it, but you don't know about it.
Yeah,
and no one 3 towns away knew about it either, right? Yeah. Unless I told them about it. It was like, oh, well, we have this thing, and they're like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And that's the way information spread. And I don't want to be a get off of my lawn kind of person and say everything was better back then. But this part of things was more natural back then. The world that we live in today, where information, and I mean, my whole career is based on the ability for information to transmit everywhere instantly. So there are good things about it. But when it comes to news, and especially terrible things that have happened, that's what gets eyeballs or earballs or, that's the clickbait stuff. That's the thing that attracts the majority of humanity. And it's easy to think when you hear about 2 or 3 cases of something that have happened, it's like, oh my God, we have...
Sure.
It's an epidemic, right? Or whatever term we're supposed to use. So I try not to overreact to that.
Yeah,
stuff.
I think that's a good point, and I think
it's just worth bearing in mind.
Yeah, it is, and I think I've spoken about it on the show before. Is not to make decisions based on anecdotal things, or is that problem truly systemic? Right?
Yes.
Or is it just a one of or a two of or this kind of thing?
I mean, what's great about the internet is I can be a nerd about something very, very niche. And let's say there's only 1,000 people in the world who are nerdy about this thing. Previously, when I was a kid, I was ostracized for it even, right? But now I can go find those other 999 people and be in a community with them.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. So that's kind of awesome. And I think there is a world where AI can be helpful with processing one's thoughts.
And even for loneliness, I think it can be helpful, right?
Yes.
In the sense that...
Temporarily, I would say.
There are people, I would argue millions of people probably, that are lonely and leave the TV on to have the noise in the background.
That's true.
You know what I mean? That's a normal thing. I mean,
yeah, a lot of people do that. They get to a hotel room, they turn on the TV so that they don't feel lonely.
Or at night when they're going to sleep and they don't want to hear those noises. I could tell you, we talked about my mom, who's 97 and a half. She leaves the TV on at night, just down low enough to where she hears murmuring and voices instead of creeping and creaks in the walls, right?
We hear it from people that listen to this show and the other shows that I do. They put them on while they go to sleep. And it keeps that loneliness from setting in. And so you're right. I stand corrected.
Benefits, but
we have been using technology to stave off loneliness for a long time. That's true.
So, but I think it's a especially for young people. Now, ChatGPT is rolling out parental controls here in the next couple of weeks. I read about that this morning, which I think is
I think that's
fine.
great.
I think it's normal that just like you wouldn't hand your kid. I mean, when I was growing up as a little kid, my parents wouldn't let me have a TV in my bedroom because they were like, no, we're not. We want to be in charge. We need to see what you're watching.
Yes.
Well, it's the same as you're not going to hand your 12-year-old a phone and just let him go to town. Hopefully not. Yeah. Or a computer or whatever. So same thing with this. I think with some guardrails, it's a massively positive force.
Agreed.
We just have to have a few of those guardrails and to be aware of it, so just thought it interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
About.
I agree. Yeah, it's a good discussion to have. This is
I don't know that I'm not. It's not that I'm right or wrong. It's just something that I'm curious about. I cannot wait to have, humanoid robots working around my house. And like, I am ready when it will do it and it's $20,000. I'll be one of the first in line because there's so much work that I need done that if I could teach a humanoid to paint my house, fix the deck, plant plants, build a retaining wall, my old age is going to be amazing because I'm going to have one or more, I would imagine more of these helpers that I'm going to be like, go ahead, build this, do that. Here's the specs, look it up. Figure out how to structural engineer this thing and make it. I cannot wait for that, dude. It's going to be amazing. I have a
question for everybody. You threw out a random number, and that's it's not that random, but the idea that for $20,000 you would buy this without thinking about it. I initially I thought, $20,000 is the number. And then I started thinking, well, we're actually about to have our deck rebuilt. That's going to cost way more than $20,000. We're about to have this built. It's going to cost way more than $20,000. Like, I think for me, the number would be if it's below 50, I'd jump on it.
And it's not like you'd even have to write a check. It'll be like buying a car. You'd just be like, it's a monthly payment, $800 or whatever. Yeah, it'll be another thing. Yeah,
I want to know. I want to know from everybody else. Well, go ahead. Well, I want to know from everybody else what your number is. Feedback at businessbrain.show. Because I'm curious what the number is. If it could just be an AI handyman, let's call it that, right? Like, what's the number?
I cannot wait. Yep.
Yeah, same. All right.
It's going to be good.
We have to wait, though. So in the meantime, we're going to do a couple other things. We have some comments from you, a quick tip about AI from me, and the next thing we're going to do is talk about our sponsors. Because you know that feeling when you're scrolling on your phone and an hour disappears and you've gained nothing? Well, you can swap that habit for something that actually makes us all better. MasterClass. Shannon and I have been checking it out. And with MasterClass, you learn from the best to become your best. I've been digging into Daniel Pink's class on sales and persuasion because, let's face it, we entrepreneurs are always selling ideas, products, even convincing ourselves to keep grinding. His lessons can give us the tools we need and put them into practice immediately. And then there's the art of intelligence with former CIA officers. Let's just say there's strategies for reading people and managing high-stakes negotiations. Yeah, they translate surprisingly well into business, folks. Plus, if I ever need to run a meeting and escape an embassy undetected, maybe I'm covered. With plans starting at just $10 a month, billed annually, you get unlimited access to over 200 classes across business, leadership, creativity, and more. And 3 out of 4 members say they leave every class feeling inspired. That's how we live our charmed lives, folks. Right now, our listeners get an additional 15% off any annual membership at masterclass.com/businessbrain. That's 15% off at masterclass.com/businessbrain, masterclass.com/businessbrain. And our sincere thanks to Masterclass for sponsoring this episode. And this episode is also brought to you by Bitdefender, our sponsor and a global leader in cybersecurity. Look, cyber threats aren't just hitting big corporations anymore. Small businesses are prime targets, and most of us aren't prepared. I used to think we're small, we're under the radar, right? But one scam email like I got, we told you about that, or a data breach could wreck your business. So you've got to be protected. Bitdefender Ultimate Small Business Security is designed specifically for small businesses. You can install it in minutes, add your team, and you're good to go. You get scam and phishing protection, unlimited VPN, password manager, data breach alerts. All the tools you'd normally have to piece together separately are now all in one package. You even get real-time notifications if something suspicious is flagged, which honestly, that would give me more peace of mind that I didn't know I needed, right? And the best part, you don't need to be a tech person. You can be and still use it. Obviously, it takes all that load off, but you don't have to be. Keep your small business safe with Bitdefender Ultimate Small Business Security and save 30% when you go to bitdefender.com/brain. That's bitdefender.com/brain for 30% off. And our sincere thanks to Bitdefender for sponsoring this episode. All right, we got a note from listener Andy here talking about AI. And Andy says, this is more of a philosophical thought. Well, that's probably good for this episode where we've gone so far. Says, but I've been thinking about AI a lot. Where is it useful and not useful? Ethical issues surrounding it, training, environment, etc., and also how it trains us as users just by our interactions with it. The more I think about it, the more I hate that we call it artificial intelligence. I think what it really is SI, simulated intelligence. It's not intelligent in the way that humans or other animals are, but particularly large language models are intended to simulate that type of intelligence. I suspect the more we remember that it is a simulation, the more likely we are to treat it as what it is, a tool that can be very powerful. But I don't care if you have the most powerful welder on earth. It's the wrong tool to tighten the screw on a pair of glasses. So I'd love to think that more people think and talk more critically about what we use these tools for and if they're really the best tools for the job. And thanks for thinking about it, Andy. Well, thanks for writing in, Andy.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a really good point. Since I do believe we are living in a simulation, I think that simulated intelligence, it makes a lot of sense. I would agree. Yeah. I think that's a really interesting breakdown of the way it works, and I like it. I think it's great.
I like the idea of framing it that way in our heads. Like we routinely on this show talk about how it's a great assistant.
Yes.
And you know, for all the reasons that we've said, it needs oversight.
It's terrible at so much stuff. It's like,
yes,
I constantly, be like, what? And of course, it's amazing what it can do, right? No doubt about it. And I've just become, of course, more my expectations have increased over time.
Yeah.
As I expect it to get better and better and better. But sometimes it just gets in these loops, I call them stupid loops, where I'm just like, all right, I just got to start over because it's just getting worse and worse and worse. But yeah, that's really cool. Good insight.
Yeah. So my quick tip is it comes from our travels this past summer.
Okay.
And one of the things we like to do when we visit a city, if we don't have, sometimes you have all your time scheduled and that's how it goes. But other times you get some downtime. And one of the ways our family likes to enjoy a city and experience a city is by doing a food tour. Because you get to learn about the different types of food,
local food that's available, not just like good food in general, but hey, what's special about this area type thing?
Yes, nice. Yes, exactly. And we had gone to Philadelphia. We've been in Philadelphia a couple of times and always enjoyed it. And we found some good food there in general. If you like mussels, go to Monk's. It doesn't seem like much, but trust me on this. And I'll put a link in the show notes to Monks. In fact, we often try to stay near Monks so that we can go there often, as many times during our trip. Yeah, exactly. But there's the last time we were in Philadelphia, we did a food tour, and it was terrible. We just had a bad tour guide. It was just like, it happens, right?
Yeah,
like,
worst cheesesteak of my life in Philadelphia, just so you know.
Yes.
Because I made that bad decision. I was
Correct.
like, everybody said this was a place. I was like,
no.
My cheesesteak shop around my house in California is way better than
way better. Well, yeah. So our food tour, we actually, it was the most ridiculous thing. It still doesn't make sense to me. We went and bought the cheesesteaks from like the place. And this was after walking for like 30 minutes. So everybody, you show up hungry and now you're hungrier.
Yeah.
And we bought the cheesesteaks. There were maybe, let's say, 8 of us on the tour. So he buys, 8 cheesesteaks or whatever. And he's carrying them around. He's like, all right, we're going to go to the next place so we can get milkshakes. And it's like, dude, can we eat the cheesesteaks now?
Yes.
Right. And so by the time we ate them, they weren't hot anymore, which I don't even know if these cheesesteaks were good because they were kind of cool and, it wasn't.
Yeah, you can't really judge it. Yep.
No. But I could judge the tour guide. That was while we were waiting for the milkshakes, which also took forever. My wife went into a donut shop that was just kind of there and bought some donuts to eat so that we weren't starving. Yeah. But it's fine. It makes for a good story. So this summer we were in Philly and we were like, oh, we should do another food tour or whatever. I was like, well, okay, but now we're a little gun shy. And so she went on ChatGPT, and we didn't, like, a lot of times we'll have time to plan in advance, and I love planning things in advance because it extends the trip, right? You're thinking about it before you get there. We didn't have time to do that. This was while I was like traveling and suffering from Lyme disease and all. Like it was we were lucky to make it to Philly.
Yeah.
And it took me almost 8 hours to get from Chicago to Philadelphia on an airplane. We drove around at O'Hare in the airplane for 6 of those hours.
Oh my god!
Like I should have been in freaking Scotland by the time I got off that plane. But anyway, we made it to Philly. We're like, it's late at night or whatever, and we're like, what are we going to do tomorrow? Okay, well, it's a food tour. It'd be interesting. Lisa got on ChatGPT, and ChatGPT was like, just book your own food tour. Here's all the places to go. Oh, okay. And then it asked us questions like, what do you like? Do you want to eat a Philly cheesesteak on this tour? And we're like, nope, don't need to. Great. It was like, good. Go to this one place called Reading Market. It's like, it's this huge place that's just all kinds of food, little shops too, but mostly just food. And it was like, go there and basically eat whatever the heck you want. But here's some recommendations. Start with this, do this. And it was like, oh, great. And we followed probably 60% of what it recommended. But other than the main goal, which was just go and do whatever the heck you want, which is exactly what we did, And now when I go to cities, it's like, oh, well, what if we just ask it what to do, tell it what we like over time? It's going to learn even more about what we like and get even better at this. So
I
use
agree.
ChatGPT.
I think that's a great use. Yeah.
It saved us a bunch of money. It was great.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
Smart.
So that's my
making me hungry.
AI tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, no, it's time for a food tour. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
That's cool.
All right. Well, that's what I got for this week. You got anything?
That's good.
Else,
I don't think we
All
have
right.
anything else. Or no, we had that simulation. No, that's it for me.
Yeah,
man.
we're
I'm
good.
I've learned a lot this week. A lot of good philosophical insight into things, and I think much of it you can tie back into your business. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Feedback at businessbrain.show. Tell us, did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like? What didn't you like? What would you have added? Or what do you have questions about? Feedback at businessbrain.show. Let us know. We love hearing from you. And keep living that charmed life. Have a great weekend. See you next week.